welcome to the Movies Past and Present podcast. It's January 31st, 2022, and this is episode 80. I'm your host, Stanford Clark, and I'm podcasting from the crossroads of the West in beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah. Just like my blog, moviespastandpresent.com, I'll be providing recommendations, commentary, and reviews about current and classic cinema. Thanks for tuning in, and let's do this thing. Got a couple of new releases in theaters starting this weekend on Friday, February 4th. First up is the film Jackass Forever. As you know, Jackass was a popular television series, and it's just about a bunch of dudes doing a lot of crazy stuff. The synopsis says, celebrating the joy of being back together with your best friends and a perfectly executed shot to the ding-dong, the original Jackass crew returned for another round of hilarious, wildly absurd, and often dangerous displays of comedy with a little help from some exciting new cast members. Johnny Knoxville and the team pushed the envelope even further on February 4th. So, again, this is one of those I think has been delayed for quite a while. Because of COVID, but finally in theaters. So go see dudes just being stupid in Jackass Forever. Also up on Friday, February 4th is Moonfall. This is a science fiction disaster film. It stars Halle Berry and Patrick Wilson. In Moonfall, a mysterious force knocks the moon from its orbit around Earth and sends it hurtling on a collision course with life as we know it. With mere weeks before impact and the world on the brink of annihilation, NASA executive and former astronaut Jo Fowler, who's played by Halle Berry, is convinced that she has the key to saving us all. But only one astronaut from her past, Brian Harper, who's played by Patrick Wilson, believes her. These unlikely heroes will mount an impossible last-ditch mission into space, leaving behind everyone they love, only to find out that our moon is not what we think it is. So this is directed by Roland Emmerich, and for me, that's just like a warning flag, because I think that he's a terrible director, and his movies really suck. He is part of the team that brought us Independence Day in the 90s, and it's just continued. Again, big, splashy, computer-generated disaster movies that I feel like are always overblown, overly dramatic, overly stupid. I'm steering clear of this one, but if you go, let me know. And wouldn't it be nice if it were good? So anyway, new in theaters this weekend: Jackass Forever and Moonfall. So in reviews this weekend, there are a couple of films I want to talk about. One I've actually seen twice. It's Nightmare Alley, which is a film directed by Guillermo del Toro. This actually opened up last month, and it opened up again last weekend with a black and white version. So the one I first saw was in color, and now it's got this black and white version, which they're referring to it as visions in darkness and light. So when you're looking at movie times for this, I think this is one of the few movies that is playing, or that has ever played, simultaneously both in color and in black and white. And you want to look for the one that says vision in darkness and light. That's the one in black and white. And I can't necessarily recommend which one I'd see. This film is based on a novel that was written in I believe 1946, And then a film version was done of it in 1947 that starred Tyrone Power. It's currently playing on the Watch TCM, as in Turner Classic Movies app, if you want to check it out. That's where I watched it. I originally was on Turner Classic Movies, and then these other two times I saw it in the theater. So this is film noir, and then some. About it's a character study about a dude named Stan. No relation. Stan is this is about his rise and fall. He is a carny, so meaning he works at a carnival, and these carnivals are kind of a combination of the grotesque and the grift. They try to find people or things that are really gross or out of the ordinary, as well as duping people into believing certain things are happening. Stan, the character, decides he really wants to become a mentalist, but what this is it's grift. It's faking people out that he can read their mind or can see something in their past or can see, kind of beyond the grave sort of deal. Anyway, he's a very ambitious carny, this character Stan. As I mentioned, in this 1947 version, the character is played by Tyrone Power. In this new remake, this character is played by Bradley Cooper. And this Bradley Cooper version's got a great cast in it. Cate Blanchett plays a psychiatrist who is, she's kind of not only the femme fatale, she's just the fatale. She's a bad person. But also in this cast is Toni Collette, William Dafoe, Richard Jenkins, Rooney Mara, Ron Perlman, Mary Steenburgen, David Strathairn. Anyway, it's just a terrific cast, and it's film noir. So kind of shady situations, people with an ambiguous moral code, or just just kind of a bad moral code, and it's really well crafted. Guillermo del Toro just assembled a great team. He and his partner wrote the screenplay, and from what I understand, it's closer to the book than the Tyrone Power one from 1947. But and sometimes film noir, frankly, can be a little bit ponderous, but it's beautiful to look at. And I loved both the color and the black and white version. I mean, the color version, Guillermo del Toro just used this amazing light and color, but then that really also influenced the black and white, because looking at the black and white, I just felt I was looking at a classic film noir, from like the 1940s or 50s. So it's not necessarily the best movie ever, by any means, or the best film noir, but it was solid if you like the genre. So, and again, you can choose. In many cases, it's not playing, I think, in every market, but if it's playing in Salt Lake City, I think it's probably playing elsewhere, both in color and black and white versions. So anyway. I gave Nightmare Alley 4 out of 5 stars, but then I like film noir. So again, and it definitely earns its R rating. There's some gore in it. It actually was easier to take in the black and white version, not having to see all that blood in color. I mean, albeit fake blood, but you know what I mean. Just also next up, just a quick review. Currently on Netflix is a movie called Don't Look Up. and you've probably heard about it. It's a satire. It's directed by Adam McKay, and it's also got an all-star cast. But it's about these two astronomers who go on. They have discovered that there's an approaching comet that is going to destroy Earth as we know it, and they go on a media tour to warn mankind about this. And it's a really interesting. I mean, it's a biting satire. It's also, ultimately a tragedy. But in a lot of ways, I mean, I enjoyed it. Frankly, it was some of it was just a bit too close to home because we're living so much of it. People who are denying science or really truth that's right in front of them, but they choose to deny it, and then crazy antics with the media. So it stars Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence are the two scientists or the two astronomers that discover this approaching comet. Meryl Streep plays the president of the United States, and she's frankly just doing I think her best Donald Trump impersonation. Actually, I felt like her character was more like a combination of Donald Trump and Kellyanne Conway. So the horrors. Cate Blanchett and Tyler Perry play the hosts of a TV news show, and they kind of represent, I think, all of the media. But also this stars Ariana Grande, Timothy Chalamet, Jonah Hill, Mark Rylance. I feel like Mark Rylance's character is kind of like a combination of Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. Anyway, the list goes on and on. If you've got Netflix and you like satire, this is, I think, an interesting and a thought-provoking watch. Of course, it gets its title by there's a movement by just saying don't look up, because you don't want to look up and see this asteroid just in case it actually is there, but just don't even bother looking up. So I guess lots of mirroring of what's happening in our present day society, which frankly I find depressing, but again, a pretty well crafted satire if you like the genre. For my movie watching project for the year of 2022, I've decided to do a bit of a deep dive into the 20th Century Fox studio. So the reason I'm doing it is because, I'm a big Disney fan, and the Walt Disney Company now owns the 20th Century Fox film catalog and their film business. They, Disney did not buy the Fox television network, or of course the Fox News cable channel, or those TV properties that are branded as Fox, but they did buy the 20th Century Fox movie and television production business, and so I thought this would be an interesting thing to really, because 20th Century Fox has got a really great history and also a really fantastic library of films. So the studio started in 1935, and it was actually a merger between 20th Century Productions, which was being run by a film producer named Darryl F. Zanuck. I remember that name. We'll be talking about him more in a minute. And then Fox Studios, which was run by this guy named William Fox. Anyway, so they merged and became 20th Century Fox in 1935. And the head of production of this combined company was Darryl F. Zanuck. And Darryl F. Zanuck is, I think, often referred to as one of the, kind of great Hollywood moguls of the era. And he was responsible for the creation of a lot of really great films, and of course some not so great. I'm in the process of reading a few books about the studio also this year. I just finished one that was co-published by Turner Classic Movies, and the author was Scott Iman, and it talked about the history of 20th Century Fox. A lot of information about William Fox, and so some of that was interesting. But really, what's interesting to me is the film studio merged from 1935 and beyond. So I have compiled a list. This was actually one of the more challenging lists to compile, because Fox has been such a prolific movie studio. They have made so many movies. I've got a list now. I think it's up at about 290 of just Fox, films made between 1935 and 2019, when Disney took over Fox in 2019. So I'm not watching all those movies. So I've narrowed it down to about 100. And this list will fluctuate a little bit, and I might add some things here and there, or just watch some additional things here and there. But I'm tracking this on the Letterboxd app. There is a link to this on the podcast notes on my blog in case you want to follow along. And I'll be podcasting about this and blogging about it too. A couple of things that I've noticed in these first films, and I've also been trying to do it somewhat in chronological order, although I think that's just kind of going to depend on the year, or on what things happen throughout the year. Sometimes Turner Classic Movies is going to be playing some movies that won't be in my chronological order, and some of these I might just be able to. I'm just going to catch them as they present themselves and as I'm available. So some of the things that have been interesting to me so far have been one of the biggest stars in the early days of 20th Century Fox was Shirley Temple. If you can believe that. Shirley Temple made a truckload of movies. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Shirley Temple made 29 films for the studio before she turned age 10. And so just a prolific little star. I've watched a couple of films of hers. I watched Heidi and a film called Captain January. The entire Shirley Temple catalog is available. It looks like most of the films, at least, are available on Apple iTunes. You can. I just rented them, but you can download them, and there's probably also all sorts of DVD sets or Blu-ray sets or whatever. I can't say I'm that huge of a fan, although I admire. It appears just from these films that I've watched, there's a formula where she's in a happy situation, and some evil adult comes in to try to mess things up and take her away from her place or somewhere else with in another family or in another situation that she doesn't want to be in, and then there's all sorts of drama, and then there's a happy ending, and if there was a misunderstanding between well-intended adults, then that gets resolved too, and that the bad adults get their just desserts in the end. She's adorable though, and you can understand why, and I think she brought a lot of happiness and optimism, particularly during the Great Depression. that was going on in the U.S. at the time. So anyway, Shirley Temple films, and then there's this, given that this was really in the height of the Hollywood studio system, where these studios had signed movie stars that they would use. They had their own. They worked for the studio and did what the studio asked them to do. So there's a trio of people that were in multiple films that I watched. Alice Faye is one of them, and she was one of the big stars of the time period. She was what they refer to as one of the Fox blondes. Fox had a tendency to be using these women that were, with blonde hair as as their stars. Alice Faye was both a dramatic actress, but also could play in comedies, and she was a singer. I don't think she was necessarily like the best singer. That's just my taste. But she sings in a lot of these movies, and anyway, it's interesting to see her in these. Then there's Tyrone Power, who I already mentioned, who played in Nightmare Alley, which was a 20th Century Fox film, by the way. But and Don Amici. So it's like Tyrone Power and Don Amici. If the film didn't star both of them, it starred one or the other, and they played either the romantic lead or kind of the part of the love triangle or something. But they're in a lot of both dramatic and kind of musical comedy films. And I think of note was a film called In Old Chicago, which was a drama film and really a big production. This takes place in the Chicago fire that happened, and of course this is a fictional story that they've created. But this movie's got a lot of drama and a lot of special effects, and this of course stars Alice Faye, Tyrone Power, and Don Amici. Don Amici also was there was a star, and I think she was a major star. I've only watched a couple of films of hers too, but this actress named Sonja Henie, shockingly, she's a blonde. She actually is from Norway, and she was a figure skater. And in fact, she was an Olympic figure skater. She was on the Norwegian Olympic team and won 3 gold medals over 3 consecutive Olympics. And after her Olympic career was winding down, she came to Hollywood and became a movie star. And she's cute, she's got these big dimples and could play in these romantic comedies. And then of course they always have big ice skating sequences in them. I watched a couple. One is called One in a Million, and another one was called Happy Landing. And again, they were just okay, but in Happy Landing, Don Amici plays the romantic lead. Then just a couple of other things in this first round of films to start off with from 20th Century Fox. In 1939, Darryl F. Zanuck, they made 2 Sherlock Holmes films. So based on the books, the first one was The Hound of the Baskervilles, and Basil Rathbone plays Sherlock Holmes. And you probably know that Basil Rathbone made quite a few Sherlock Holmes films. Only 2 of them were at 20th Century Fox. The rights got sold to Universal Pictures, and they made a bunch too. But this first one, I just thought was terrific, and also I rented it on iTunes, but just thought it was a really solid murder mystery, and also just thought Basil Rathbone was so great in this role, so I enjoyed watching that. And then we get into some more dramatic films that have often, Fox would make films that had some kind of historical context in them. Their film about Jesse James, which was titled Jesse James, starred Tyrone Power in the title role. Henry Fonda played Jesse James' brother, Frank. It's a bit of a romanticized retelling about this outlaw, but still, I thought it was a solid film. Speaking of Henry Fonda, he starred in a great movie from the early days of 20th Century Fox called Drums Along the Mohawk, which starred Claudette Colbert as well. They play newlyweds who are living during the American Revolutionary War, and I thought it was a compelling film. Filmed in glorious Technicolor and directed by John Ford. So anyway, this has been a fun discovery. Probably one of the most famous films, I think, of this time period, and well-regarded films, is John Ford's and directed by John Ford, is The Grapes of Wrath, which is a film adaptation of the John Steinbeck novel about beleaguered farm workers during the Great Depression. It's such a good movie, and I really enjoyed watching it, and can appreciate the great work put by all the actors and all the team from 20th Century Fox into this excellent film adaptation of that important novel. So anyway, I'm having fun with this. I'll be giving you updates. Please follow me on Instagram as well. My handle is @moviespap, as in past and present, where I'm putting a lot of content about this 20th Century Fox project, and again, I'll be doing that all year. Well, that does it for this episode of the Movies Past and Present podcast. Again, links and more information about the movies discussed in today's podcast can be found in the podcast notes on my blog at moviespastandpresent.com. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher. Links are also on the blog. And follow me on Instagram, as I've already mentioned. Handle is @moviespap, as in past and present. As always, I hope you will enjoy some good movies this week, whether they be from the past or the present. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, be safe out there and dedicate yourself to the truth.